So two things I really want to talk about today that I've been thinking about a lot is number one, how to create a sandbox for the players and then insert the players into that situation and let them play. And number two, saying yes to your players wherever possible. I thought I'd just have a little chat about a couple of the philosophies that I base my game mastering on, and in fact those philosophies that I've used when I feel like my game mastering has been better rather than worse. So it's going to be titled something like I'm giving your players a sandbox to play in and saying yes to the ideas they come up with. So basically, a good example of this, with this when it went well, was my Under the Big Top game, which I'll talk about in a minute. The concept is that basically I get a situation, not the entire world, but a situation limited within a certain context, like a town or a court or a wedding situation or some sort of scenario, and I have several major players within that scenario, and I know the relationships between those players, and I know, and there's some sort of inherent tension in those relationships or problem that will actually naturally unfold itself once it's started to be investigated. So I have quite a good idea of several of these major players, what they're like, what they want, what their motivations are, how they feel about the other players within that situation, as in players in a situation, not the players at the table. Then I insert the PCs, just plump them right down in the middle, and then just let them play around in that scenario. I let them talk to whoever they want, or push whatever button they want, or pull whatever levers they want, and let them guide the way the whole situation unfolds. And most importantly, saying yes to them, especially when they come up with conclusions or ideas about the way the adventure seems to be going, or what the truth actually seems to be of the situation, especially when that truth isn't the truth that I came up with. So this contrasts with other ways that I've tried to game master, where you actually have a fantastic storyline and an idea of how it all plays out, and you basically drive your players through this series of events, forcing them to come to the conclusions that you're wanting them to come to, because you know that's the only way to get to the next event. So let's look at the Under the Big Top game. Basically, I set up the circus was there. We had the madam of the circus who was in control of things. We knew she had prostitutes. We knew they had a relationship with the town, that the higher class liked to use the circus, but they didn't like to be seen by the lower class. Then we knew that she'd had these standover people who would come and were protecting the circus and were actually going along with the circus. And the reason they were doing that is because they were participating in child trafficking and sex slavery, which the rich folk of the town actually wanted to use their services. I knew that the madam didn't know about the situation, and that with the children, she thought she was just being forced to have these guards come with her for protection. I knew that she was possibly in cahoots with the mayor, and there was this sort of political tension. I knew there was a lower town and an upper town, there was a lower guard and an upper guard, and there was tension between those. And that's about as far as I went. I also accompanied with that a series of potential encounters. So I had creatures statted out. I had the big standover guys statted out. I had her statted out. I had some of the circus animals statted out. So I had encounters that I could activate at any point. Pathfinder needs a series of nicely balanced combat encounters, some of which are hard, some of which are easy, some of which are just normal. And as long as you've got those ready, you can basically cope with whatever happens. Then I inserted the PCs, and I'm particularly aware of this, how it plays in this, because I've actually done this adventure twice now, and the PCs went in very, very, very different directions with it. And basically they then investigate and talk to different people. You can always give a little push if you feel like the momentum's running out, give them a little clue. I set off the whole thing with a murdered child, lying blooded and gored and abused in the street, and that was enough to give the players motivation to try and get into it. And then I basically just let the players walk around wherever they wanted to and see all sorts of things. So once the players wanted to go to the madam's caravan. So just off the top of my head, I had the mayor appear out the door of the caravan with his pants half done up, and that sort of sparked their interest. Another time the players really, really focused on the town guard and went up into the upper town and tried to sort of chase down the people who were involved in that. And then what happens is the players naturally come up with their own conclusions about what's going on and why it's going on. And that's, for me as a game master, one of the things I've really learned is that moment when you have, so it's like, oh my god, it's the Spanish, isn't it? And you're like, yes, that's amazing. Because then the players, they've only come to that conclusion because they've added together logical pieces of information that they've perceived, even if it's not what you've actually said. They've linked them together in a way that suddenly makes sense to them in an aha moment. And to spoil that is really, really sad. And often their ideas are better than your ideas because they're actually experiencing the story naturally without having thought about it for hours and hours and hours before. So it's that moment, if you can give your players, I mean, we're always hoping to do that, and often we're driving them towards hoping that they'll realise our fantastic aha moment. You know, and it's like, well done, yeah. But when they actually take that moment and push the story along in a totally unexpected direction and then resolve it in a whole new way that really logically follows on with what actually has happened on the day for them at the actual game, then they find it really, really satisfying, and I find it really, really exciting. So that makes it a really collaborative storytelling process where you're willing to let your story be pushed and wound and sort of manipulated by the players as well. And yeah, there's some other people have said stuff about, you know, say yes, absolutely, say yes. If you can possibly say yes to what the players want. Oh, I know. Is there a cart full of gelignite? You know, that'd be fantastic. You know, say yes. Yes, there is a cart full of gelignite. You can say yes and it's not actually gelignite, it's gunpowder, or yes, but it's going to be really, really difficult to get because you know, don't just spoil their desires to find that cart, but actually give them a complication so it seems like it naturally fixes in. You know, when James Bond suddenly needs a hairdryer to chuck in the bath and electrocute the baddie, you know, it's seen as funny because he sort of just, oh, there it is right there, and he puts it in the bath. So if the players just say, oh, is there a hairdryer? Yes. Okay, plonk. You know, it's like, oh, there is a hairdryer. It's actually attached to the wall over the other side of the bathroom. You're going to have to try and wrench it off. You know, maybe if the three of you get together to do it. So it actually seems like it's a logical part of the world and didn't just materialise and appear for them just because they thought of it. That's about it. I'd love this to be a bit of discussion. So if you want to comment in the comments below, you can always tweet us at the Dice Stormers, and we've got a Facebook page and stuff like that now. It's been really fantastic working as a community on making our gaming better and better, and it's really fantastic that people are enjoying our games mastering, and I'm learning so much, especially having the opportunity to watch myself GM and also watching my compatriots GM, and also from all your comments. So yeah, that's about it. Fantastic. Hope you enjoyed. Bye!